Hi Aries, this is Lee at Fresh Astrology. Welcome. If you want a reading, you can go to www.freshastrology.com or you can join our tribe. It's a group of women like middle-aged and over who are recreating or re-envisioning the second part of life, and especially looking toward having some kind of business in the typical retirement age. So if you want to join our tribe for group support and classes and events to be announced soon, and free events and free downloads and a private Facebook community, please join us. I have learned just in my own life and doing this work that this is a group that needs support and would welcome support. So anyway, let's get to your reading, Aries. August is an interesting month. We've had a very interesting summer, and included in that is the eclipse season, the Mars retrograde, everything retrograde, maybe not everything, but almost everything retrograde. And so it makes for an interesting mix of events. Plus we have Uranus newly in Taurus and backing out, beginning to back out of Taurus for a brief stint back in Aries. So it creates disruption, it creates a sense of uncertainty, possibly unease in some people, but it doesn't mean that all is lost or it's the end of the world or anything like that. We just look at what's happening in your life, in reality, and then kind of think our way through based on the astrology. So the moon, which has been key all summer, has a lot of fire to it. It has a fire emphasis in August. We begin with a fire moon, we end with a fire moon, we have the eclipse and a fire moon, and so there's a lot of fire. But that is also not a bad thing necessarily, although it does amp up and ramp up emotions. And so emotions can be amplified maybe, and more on the surface, and could be more like an energized feeling, a motivated feeling, just a sense of passion that's strong toward whatever you're working on and whatever's going on for you, in Leo specifically, but also in Aquarius. Aquarius is implicated here because of all the Mars action, and also Capricorn is, I would say, other than Leo, Leo's been very important in the whole axis across to Aquarius, but I would say Capricorn is really where it's at. That's where we need to be focused in our personal lives and globally. This is a very important message coming through. And when I say coming through, it bubbles up everywhere. It bubbles up in the condition of the planet, animals, plants, water. The message is infused in everything, including you. And so the stuff that's coming up for you, all the deep changes that need to happen, the changes you're forced to see, that you need to make, all of that is coming from this Capricorn vibe. And it's not just Capricorn, it's the fact that Pluto and Saturn are there. And then we have this added emphasis in August with Mars backing in. So the action is toward, if you're going to apply the lessons of Saturn, Pluto, combined with Capricorn, combined with Mars, I would say the action is in the area where Capricorn is in your chart. That's where the action needs to take place. That's where you might feel a sense of urgency or motivation or passion, in some cases anger and irritation. But I encourage you it's good to feel your feelings. Absolutely. It is good to feel your feelings. It's even good to use them as information toward an informed action and plan. But emphasis on the plan, emphasis on the long-term intent of Capricorn, and the fact that Saturn's there and Pluto's there. Pluto and Saturn want to take their time. They want a plan. They want deep change, not just surfacey, let's put a Band-Aid on it. They want profound change that can only happen over time. So we're looking toward the kind of action that has a plan. We're looking toward the kind of action that wants to take the long view. We're looking toward the kind of action that is sustainable and has more predictable outcomes, or at least a higher chance of a good outcome. So the planning is essential. That's the way to move through the next 2.5 years, really, is to understand your plan. Understand the plan, wherever you are. What is the plan? How sustainable is it? Can people get behind it? Can I get behind this? Can I carry this out? Is it realistic? If it isn't realistic, do I have enough passion and drive to make it happen, even though it's against all odds? But you need a plan. So that's really the crux of the matter. And for you, the plan needs to happen in your career. The planning needs to occur. It needs to be long range. It needs to be sustainable. So for Aries, it's the career. There's also a sense of changes in the area of your 5th house. That's where Leo is for you. And these could be changes with your children, new plans with your children, maybe a new beginning with a child. It could, for some people, be a new beginning in romance. It could be a new beginning in terms of fun projects, creative projects. Take new endeavors that are fun for you. And I would say for everybody, but especially Aries, that having a plan that's also fun. Having a plan has connotations for some people, like it's torture and hell on earth. And especially maybe for Aries, the idea of having a plan is not necessarily a favorite agenda item. Although when I think of my Aries buddies, they actually are pretty good planners. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Aries is good at planning. Although you like quick action, and it may be harder to think down the road, like 10 years from now. I don't know if Aries is as fond of looking. I think you're good at it. I just don't know if you're as fond of looking 10, 20 years down the road and making your plan apply to that length of time. I think you're actually very good with the quick, like, what's the plan for the week? What's the plan for the day? What's the plan for the month? What's the plan for the year? I think you can go out as far as a year, and that's your comfort zone. But I think it's not as natural for you to be thinking very long term. And sometimes decisions are made very decisively, very efficiently, very effectively, but quickly and for the short term. And then you might change your mind or wonder about it later. And that's just human. There's nothing right or wrong or bad about that. It's just the general heavenly message is about planning more for the long term and understanding that we have some kind of responsibility for that in our own lives, with our family and loved ones. We have a responsibility to take ourselves seriously enough to have a plan. And also we may be able to see further than our own nose and have a plan that we think will help generations to come. So, but if you can't focus on that, at least focus on your own life and have enough respect for yourself to know that you deserve a plan that takes you out 20 years or more and is sustainable and fun. The fun is a big part of it. I think most things that are sustainable do have elements of fun, and you can enjoy them. Because life is meant to be enjoyed, it's not meant to be torture. So the planning aspect is not meant to be torturous, it's meant to help you include the things that help you thrive. And if we don't have a plan, often we're running around like crazy, we don't have enough spare time to breathe, we're not having enough fun. So planning can actually bring about a life that does include more fun. So that is August. The eclipse, lots of other astrologers are giving like the days and times of things, but the eclipse is the 11th. Mercury retrograde plays into that. So there is kind of decision making, a 180, a recognition of a direction to go in, but you need a plan. But I would say the overall energy of the month, you want to look toward the final 2.5 weeks for more action and more of a sense of clarity. But in the beginning of the month, have a sense of planning, a sense of it's okay to take time to slow down and plan and not be racing around all the time and having instant answers and instant clarity. Maybe it's time to just sit down and make some lists. There's so many good self-coaching books out there that help you go through exercises that can help you create the life you want. I always recommend Martha Beck's series. She trained me to be a coach, and starting with finding your own North Star and then steering by starlight. Those are the two best for, I think, beginners to work with. But there are tons of other good books out there, but I'll just mention those two. I also did a forecast for fun. I did a Facebook Live for each sign in Facebook. So you can go watch that. I may have covered something slightly different than I did here. All right, take care, guys.